All right. We'll see if anybody can see me here. I will fix the camera. All right. If you guys can see me or hear me, get the mic down here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If anybody's out there, you guys can comment. See, we got one person in there. There we go. Hey there, what's going on? All right. I jumped the gun on a little early, but that's okay. Get people in here and we'll start having our conversation. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we got a few more days coming up. Got to just finish day 6, and that doesn't come out till I think next Friday. But anyways, I've got them coming out like every 3 days. So, but yeah, but I appreciate that. Yeah, the Colombia thing was absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I'll probably get into that a little bit more as we get started here in another minute or so. But yeah, it was what a trip of a lifetime. I can't say enough about it. But thank you. Try to get better at the videos. Try to capture kind of like what our day was like, and then obviously my buffoonery. That's always a good. Well, I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but now we got a few people out there. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Okay. Hello there. Audio's fine. Good. Perfect. Doing the second time I'm doing this, so I know the first time was a little bit of a fiasco, and well, I shouldn't say the first time. The first time I tried to go live was a fiasco, and it was a bust out. But so anyhow, TSR, what's happening? Anything exciting in your world? All right, shows 5 folks here. Well, anyway, so yeah, so audio's fine, but yeah, so question was a little bit about my Colombia trip. So I'll just get into it because I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then obviously I've got this hat on here. I've been accused of maybe drinking the orange Kool-Aid, so we'll have a little conversation on that one. Um, yeah, so Colombia, I will tell you this: I do plan on going back next year. Ricardo is he's a fantastic person. If you didn't get that from my interviews with Ricardo, And then the trip. He's just a great guy. Now he does, I think, maybe 4 or 5 different like routes throughout Colombia. So, like if you go a couple of different times, you will definitely go to different places. Like, so Chad Warner was with us. This was Chad's 4th time, and there were 3 spots, three different cities, nights that we stayed at that he had never been on before. So that gives you an idea that they kind of do some different things and that stuff. Um, but yeah, so Colombia was crazy. You guys have seen some of the videos so far. There's more to come. I think day 2 was just the last one that kind of launched. I think I believe Friday. Friday will be day 4. And it has been crazy. The driving is out of control. I mean, obviously I had my accident, so you guys can see this. I got a brace on my hand. I actually fractured this finger, my pinky. You can kind of see it's bent a little bit. And then in here, you guys could probably see if you watch the video, you guys could see how the bruise and stuff on here. So I have a fractured, it's a bone. It's not necessarily the wrist, but it's that where the thumb and the wrist kind of come together. And I had a CAT scan done to confirm everything just a few days ago. So that's never fun. So yeah, I rode the rest of the Colombia trip with basically a couple of broken bones and kind of worked my way through that, and then got home and it was still sore after about a week or so, and I finally decided to go to the doctor. And anyway, so we got this. Hopefully, I'll be ready by March Boat and Madness. Yeah, what? Yes. um, yeah, yeah, Highway 17. It is just a beautiful thing in Colombia when you. So the story there with the accident. So you guys could tell how it's driving. They're literally. It doesn't seem like there's any rules at all. I'm sure South America, the rest of it's like that, but in Colombia, it doesn't seem like there's any rules at all. People darting in and out. You got animals all over the place. I was following the 3. They obviously got around and stuff like that, so I was kind of caught behind that semi and that car for probably a few miles. The other guys were way behind me, probably 2 or 3 miles. So I was kind of like by myself, 3 way out in front, 3 way behind. And so that curve, if you really don't see, but when you're riding, you see a little bit different, but that curve. So as we were coming into this bend, going this way, there was nothing there. I could see it wide open. And then obviously you had the sharp curve that went back on the other side. And in my mind, the car that was right behind him, when I went out to go forward, I saw that car. And if you see it in the video, the car is also going over a little bit. And I kind of came off a throttle and hesitated. Well, sure enough, when you hesitate, you guys all know what happens. And he ended up, kind of drifting back in, and then I kind of gunned it. Well, it was too late by then. And I got down there and literally, you can just feel it in the video. I was gunning it, and all of a sudden, all I saw was that corner of that big truck coming around the corner. And then obviously you don't want to grab a full fist of brake or anything like that, because I would have just dumped it and probably got run over by both of them. And, probably very fortunate to a certain degree, right? Well, yes, fortunate to a lot of degree. So, and yes, Sean, I would love to see some of those. But yeah, so as I was just coming off, I was kind of braking, throttle off a little, obviously, rear brake, front brake, just kind of touching it a little bit just to kind of slow down, hoping that truck would go by. And I was drifting back, and as you guys can see, I was drifting back pretty good, and it just must have caught the trailer part of the back end of that box truck, and it just flipped my handlebar right on over, as you guys probably obviously saw in the video. And if you see it in the slow-mo, you can kind of see my feet go up and over, and I kind of went over. So what must have happened is I actually tore my climb glove. This right here on this pinky, you guys really can't see. I don't really want to show it, but it tore it all the way down to basically the bone right here. I shaved off the skin, and the climb glove burnt all the way through. I got some rips in my climb jacket, some other things, but adrenaline pumping. You guys can see the latest video that's out there. I just kind of got back up, picked the bike up, and they were trying to talk to me. I have no Spanish words. I don't know what they're saying. They don't know what I'm saying, and all I could think of was, crazy gringo, big dummy. But anyway, so yes, very fortunate that nothing. Very, very fortunate that nothing worse, because the way that the hill was angled, obviously it was sloped going back into that curve. And I think that's what helped too, because I think if it would have been sloped going the other way, it would have dumped me probably into the way of the other truck. It would have ran me right on over. I would have been crushed. And so a little crazy, right? But it is what it is. It was my fault. I took a risk and shouldn't have. And once that car popped out and I came off the throttle and stuff, I should have just waited and drifted back in and waited for the next moment. And I didn't. And so, like I said, I'm lucky to be here. The guys came up behind me. You guys really didn't see the video, but I don't even know if you guys caught the thing that I said, because they asked me how I'm doing. And I said, other than my ego being crushed, but I was pretty shaken up. As you probably could tell, you guys didn't see it. Obviously, the camera was on the bike. I didn't have my helmet camera, and you guys couldn't, do that. But anyways, yeah. So it was pretty scary. I kind of kept going through. Actually, I didn't show anybody the video until later. Well, I only showed Jim, because Jim and I were rooming in the same room. I showed him the video, and I actually didn't show the video to the rest of the guys until a couple of days later, when we were sitting around at a nicer location. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then again, Colombia trip was beautiful. Then Charles, actually, the gentleman that was with us, what a fantastic guy he was. I mean, he writes for the LA Times. He was doing actually an article for, I think, Motorcycle Travel, or I forget the magazine, but there's going to be a full article on it, which I was kind of shocked at that. But was doing a whole thing about this trip, and guy speaks like 5 languages. He's lived in Japan and all over the world and stuff like that. Just a very unique individual. I mean, but he was really cool. He actually fell a few days later, and I think you'll see it in the videos. I don't have it necessarily him falling, but he cracked or broke his rib. We don't really know, but he was pretty ginger the last few days. So it was a pretty, I would tell you that it's not for a beginner. Like, if you go down there, and as you heard me in some of my videos, I do not consider myself an expert or even a good intermediate. What did I say? I'm an advanced expert novice. So, but you got to have a little bit of skills. You got to have some training. The roads were very difficult. If you guys could see, some of the terrain was pretty good. Like I said, Chad's done all the BDRs, and he would say that, it would rank up there with some of the tougher BDRs, some of the tracks we have, and maybe a little bit challenging on some things. The roads, just as you guys see in the videos, you got this beautiful highway. Next thing you know, there's been a landslide or whatever, and it's gone. It's just dirt and gravel, and it's just bizarre. And you don't know if traffic's coming on the other side, and you just really have to be on your toes. So it was really cool. Just a great experience all around. So if you ever go, learn a little bit of Spanish. They don't speak any English. They don't really take any American money. So, so a lot of things, and it is cheap. I would tell you that it was pretty cheap in Colombia, relatively speaking. So anyways, but yeah, it was a great experience. So if anybody goes, I would highly recommend it in the future. Planning on going next February. I think I've got some folks already lined up to fill up some slots in February for a ride with Ricardo. So, yeah, definitely if you're doing that, that's pretty cool. Oh no, Sean, no, I'm absolutely not deterred by going again. I definitely am going. Like I said, I just got, you probably were typing as I was saying it, but I am definitely planning on going back next February, some time frame in there. It was, like I said, it was absolutely just a phenomenal experience, and the people were outstanding. There was, none of this stuff. Now, the police, there's police presence, but they're really, I called them more like mall cops. They run around with their lights on all the time, but they never stop. They never stop anybody or anything like that. The military folks we did run into, especially out in the rural areas, those are more the cops, I would say, is the military folks. But we never ran into any issues, no nothing. I mean, we would leave our jackets, helmets, and you guys know this. You got uh, you got $700 helmets, you've got $400 or $500 jackets, you've got camera equipment and stuff like that, and you just leave them on the bikes, and nobody bothers any of that stuff. Now, granted, I mean, crime's crime and things can happen, but one of our guys, Tom, accidentally left his brand new GoPro sitting on a table at lunch, and we had walked all the way back to our bikes and stuff, and he realized he left it there. He went all the way back. It was still sitting there. I know in Cincinnati that if that GoPro was laying on that bench and I came back 5-10 minutes later to pick it, would have been probably gone. So that's what I say, that when we did this stuff, that it was pretty amazing. It was like I said, I can't say enough about how Ricardo runs it, B, the places, locations you go to, and then you guys saw some of the scenery, and it's, obviously it's even better when you're live. It's truly incredible. So yeah, so that was kind of Colombia. We had some spills here and there. There was a couple times I dumped a bike, but I didn't have it on video. Nothing obviously major outside the big one. Yeah, outside of that, we had a great time. And your guys are going to see, I think I got the Cliffs videos coming up. I think that's day 5. And it's just beautiful. I've got some drone footage of the gang, running on against the cliffs about 4,000 feet up, 5,000 feet up, and you guys can see where we're at riding, and it's absolutely fantastic. So anyhow, any other questions on Colombia? Anybody got anything out there? How many extra batteries were you taking for the GoPro? Oh, okay. Yeah. So, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7, 8. I'm sorry. I take 8 batteries. So I used, I had 1, 2, I've got 3 GoPro 10s that I use. I use one on my helmet. I use one on the lower end of the bike to get the kind of the bike shots, the down low. And then I have a vlogging camera to kind of get all the, conversations and stuff like that. So I have 8 batteries, and that's kind of, and I really didn't even go through all 8. And I used 256 gig cards for them. Unfortunately, probably the last 2 or 3 videos that you guys will see on this adventure, one of the times I dumped the bike, I broke my I broke my lower bike camera mount. So I don't really have any video of the lower end of, seeing from the wheel view in my last few videos. So there's some footage out of there, but I've got the helmet, and this is the first time you guys will see. I did add some 360 video. I finally used my Insta 360, and I got some video on there. It's okay. I didn't have the right extension, the big long one. I just had a tall one I had on my helmet. So, and I'm still playing around with it. I really haven't mastered how to use that too well, but the Insta 360, I do have some video of that, which is pretty cool. And the drone footage, was phenomenal. I think I got some great drone footage and very happy about that. Um, did you bring all your own riding gear? Did you camp or hotel? Okay, yeah. So hey, Sean, yeah, so we never camped. So the only thing we had, you guys, if you guys see it on the video, we only had one bag. It was on the back end of our tail bag. That's you took your clothes, toiletries, and anything there. And then obviously you had your backpack if you wanted that for hydration, bladder, and all this other stuff to carry some stuff. So we never camped. It was a hotel every night, which was nice. And we had really nice, nice places. Um, Anything else I wish I would have brought? It's funny you say that. Not that I would have brought, I wish I would have got some laundry done. Chad and Jim lucked out somehow one night, and I think it's on day 5 or 6. I capture that where they had their clothes cleaned at one of the hotels or whatever, so they kind of washed. Because I will tell you, after you ride what we ride and where you ride and how hard we ride and everything like that, your clothing can get a little bit, let's just say the aroma gets a little bit crazy. Um, you got one pair of boots, right? And you've got 3 or 4 pairs of socks, and they get hot, stick, like everything else. It's an adventure ride. So, but anyways, but yeah. And then the hotel rooms were really nice. Most of the hotel rooms, and it depends on what you do. You can either do a double or you can do single. You can upgrade to do single room. A lot of us were in single rooms. A couple of nights, um, Chad and I didn't really pay for single. I happened to luck out and get a single a couple of nights, but Jim and I shared the cabin there on the river. Chad and I did one night, and then we were lucky enough the hotel operators were able to give us a real nice shindigs outside of that. So yeah, no camping. It was really cool. If you want to do Colombian tour, how much should I? But Mike, if you Colombia tour, so let's go back to that. So it's not cheap, guys, or girls, gals, whatever. It was $4,000, but that $4,000 included all your nights of hotel, included your breakfast, your lunch, and snacks that we stopped along the way, and your gas. So it paid for all of that. So lodging, all that was included. The only thing you had to pay for was your dinners at night. And I didn't spend more than $300 for 10 days. I think it was 350 or something like that for the 10 days. Now, granted, I bought some things and brought some things home and some things of that nature or whatever. I think I didn't spend more than $600 on the trip, roughly. Now, that doesn't include airfare. I think a couple of guys flew Spirit, which I don't know. I think they got airfare for $600-700. I think American was about 1,000. I'm lucky enough that I have flown so much in my corporate life that I had mileage and was able to use that to get a free ticket down there. But I think American was about 1,000. So was Delta, and that was a couple of months in advance. And but I think airfare is going to be $600 to $1,000. The trip's $4,000. And then when you do get there, you stay at Ricardo's home, which is very nice, and it's very nice that he lets us do that. And puts up with that. But yeah, you come in and then we take off from there. So yeah, I would say probably overall trip is going to be probably close to another 1,000. That's 5,000 with airfare, and let's just say you go crazy and it's another, let's call it 1,000, because by the time I park my car at the airport for 10 days, and that's 150 some bucks, and I can really get down into the nitty gritty on how much it is, and nickel and diamond here and there. So just add in another 800 to 1,000. So it's going to be close to $5,500 to $6,000, and it is expensive. I mean, it's a trip of a lifetime, but at the same time, if you can do it, and you can budget it and want that experience or that do something you've never done in your life before, then I would highly recommend it. But it is a little, it does start running, but everything's taken care of once you get there. So that gives you an idea of kind of what that cost was. Any other questions out there on good old my Colombia trip? It's not a sponsor, but Diet Dr. Pepper. Got to keep up my girlish figure. So, yeah. So it was, like I said, it was really cool. We had a really super nice night. It was fun. Chad's birthday was then as well. Tom had never been out of the country, which was really cool. Oh, did it have any damage to the bike? Actually, I have to tell you, Sean, no. When the bike went over, the only thing that really the bark buster in the front came loose and was bent down. All we did was take the tool out, put it back up, fixed it. The handlebars were just a shade off, and again, we just held it with my legs, and Ricardo just kind of popped it a little bit, and it was right back in alignment. So no issues whatsoever with the bike. If I would have got, again, I didn't have all the video, but there was a big pool. I thought I actually busted. I actually thought I destroyed the bike, to be honest with you, because when I went to pick the bike up, there was a pool. Looked like I thought I had, busted. It was just gas ran out, and that was it. Bike was fine. I rode it for the next 4 days, 5 days, and no issues at all. So I think that's another reason why maybe I bought the KTM. So, but no damage. Me, but no damage to the bike. So it survived. Anybody else got anything? Or is that enough on Colombia? TSR, you're awfully quiet out there. Mike, did that help give you an idea of how much it was? Hopefully I didn't scare you away from it, but like I said, Ricardo and them do a great job. All right. Yeah, so you guys will catch it. I'm actually still working on day 7 video. And again, I didn't catch much. Day 6 and day 7, not a lot of vlogging and less than what I wanted to do and what I realized that I did. I think it was just because we were coming down to the last couple of days. My hand was really kind of throbbing and hurting me, and I think it's like doing a BDR. It really is. It's we're lucky enough not to camp or whatever and stay in hotels. But I would tell you we didn't sleep very well. I will tell you that's one thing that I don't really talk about in the videos, not because of the places where we stayed, but because of the noises. The first night out, these 2 cats were going at it at 3 a.m. and howling, and it sounded like death screams for 20 minutes from 3 to 3:20 a.m. So we didn't get much sleep the first night. The second night, the night where we were up in the mountains in the hot springs place, which was beautiful, great place. A guest, his car alarm went off every 20 minutes. A bunch of us couldn't get the management to find the person. Nothing. We almost went out to the car and almost like wanted to take it apart. It was every 20 minutes you would hear this click, click, beep, 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 and it was just loud enough, and it kept up half the hotel. There were so many complaints the next day, so we didn't get much sleep there. The best night of sleep we did get was on the river in that kind of 2-hut place where they had the netting over the bed. If you guys have seen that, and I'm not a big fan of creepy crawlies. I'm just going to tell you that right now. so I'm thinking tarantulas, scorpions, snakes. Let's just get the trifecta there. And so Jim goes, "Oh yeah, that netting's there to keep out the scorpions and the tarantulas and stuff like that." almost couldn't sleep, but I was so sore from my hand that day. And then just whooped and tired. We had the fans going. It was nice. The thing, and that was the best night all of us got of sleep, because then the next day, we had noises and stuff, and so yeah, it was. I think it was just the last couple of days we were a little tired, a little exhausted, and I didn't get a lot of video. So hopefully, the day 6 and 7 will at least give you guys an idea of kind of what our final couple of days were. $500 a month starting right now. All right, that's it. If you start saving now, you got it. That's good. No problem, Mike. What you got planned for the spring? So the spring, Mike, I would tell you. So right now, the next 2 or 3 weeks is me just trying to get my hand healed, and also to try to get my 600-mile break-in period on my new KTM 890. March Moto Madness is for sure down in Tellico Plains, so definitely we'll be at March Moto Madness. Leaving, I think, Wednesday morning. A group of us are going down, and then be there through Sunday. A couple of weeks later, I plan on being at Kane Wagner's Appalachian Adventure deal for Fool's Ride. I'll be up there. We'll see how that goes, because that's up by the train wreck in Ohio, which is up by East Palestine. I think it's New Richmond, Ohio, somewhere up that neighborhood. So if I come back, I'll be glowing green or something like that, with four eyeballs and a couple of extra ears or something, which is a travesty and shame up there. But anyway, so I'll be at that, and then I've got some work stuff that I have to do, but may look into probably do maybe some stuff either in West Virginia or something like that, probably in May. And then definitely going to the MOA this year. So I'll be in Virginia. So I'll be at the BMW MOA National Rally in Richmond. I kind of had everything kind of lined up, and then we're doing the Northeast BDR, a group of us. We're running it backwards. So we're going to start obviously north to south on the BDR. And we got Soggy Bottom Days, I think, up in Kissel, which is a big BMW dealership in Pennsylvania. I think they're a top 10 dealership. They got Soggy Bottom Days. That's in July sometime. And then, I mean, it just starts, stacking up from there. But that's kind of the game plan for right now. Yeah, Kevin, be at March Moto Madness this year. Absolutely. I am. Thanks. I'll be cool, Mike. That's cool. We have to get to connect or whatever, and connect at the MOA. That'll be awesome. Yeah, Kevin, definitely be at the March Moto Madness. It's the reason why I'm trying to break in and get my 600 miles on my KTM. I was going to keep that kind of quiet, but I was going to take the Touareg, the 660, to March Moto Madness, but I think I'm going to end up taking Cap, my obviously my GSA. She will always go everywhere. And then I think I'll take the KTM, the new KTM 890. I've got some things that are lined up for it over the next few weeks, not only to get the first service done, but getting some extra doodads put on it. So you guys will probably catch a video of that coming up, of some of the enhancements I'm going to do to that bike. So yeah, absolutely, Kevin. Hope to see you there as well. Yeah, Mike, the schedule always, like, you get something kind of set up, and then you're trying to figure out what else you want to do. And then a couple of my buddies are always trying to get me to do some other things, which it's always just never enough time, right? We all want to ride and do as much as we can, especially depending on where you live. Like if you live, living in Ohio, right? We, sometimes we get boxed in because of depending on how our winters are. At least in Cincinnati, they're not as bad as, living up for even further north. But at the end of the day, yeah, trying to figure out how to get some riding in and do all the things that you want to do is a challenge, because as I've told many of you, I still work for a living. So I try to manage that as much as possible. And thank God I've got the job that I do have. It does garner a little bit of flexibility. But yeah, at the end of the day, would I like to be out doing more riding? Absolutely. But bigger things, I guess, to afford all these bikes and stuff, I've got to work somewhere, somehow, some way. Oh, you retire on March 24th? Well, good for you, man. That's awesome. I love it. Oh yeah, Mike. I have a day job. Yeah, I am not the YouTube guy that is like everybody else. You know, there you know, I think everybody has this misnomer about being in YouTube and making a bunch of money. It's not nothing like that. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, this is just I have fun, and as I've stated numerous times, not only my videos, but try to tell everybody, it's like I enjoy this. I enjoy sharing my experience, only being doing this for a couple of years, and really have obviously dove in deep into it. And I enjoy sharing my struggles with anybody else because, again, a lot of us get into this at a little bit later stage of our lives doing this. And hopefully, I'm able to share some of my failures and continue learnings with others so it can help them, you know, maybe not face some of those things or whatever. So that's kind of the reason why I do this. But yeah, I wish I was the quote unquote independently wealthy and or the retiree. So I am not. With all your bikes, though, oh yeah, trust fund, baby. I wish I was a trust fund. Uh, No, so I do work for a tech company, and so I I work for a tech company. So it's a pretty big data company. We do a lot in the technology field. I don't want to get too deep into it, but if anybody knows what enterprise or SaaS solutions are, selling software and that type of thing. I basically I'm director of strategic accounts for North America, and so I handle some big clients and customers and help navigate and build strategy for their business on a yearly 3 year, 5 year, 10 year type of vision between our companies and try to give them, you know, a strategy going forward on their IT solutions that encompasses a lot. So logistics and warehousing and back office and consumer engagement and stuff like that. So it's a lot. But anyways, that not to bore everybody to death with details out there. Oh, that's cool. You're in SAS, yeah. So yeah, we share probably a little bit of the same type of stuff you do. So yeah. So yeah, that's yeah, Mike. I think being a trust fund baby would be cooler. Then I could just do, you know, do whatever. But no, I like I said, very fortunate. Work for a great company, and just been, like I said, I'm very blessed in that aspect of it, and being able to do not only that, but then be able to do this and share, like again, my experiences and kind of my more sometimes I think failures than successes, but getting better every day. Try to do my thing and get better. So it's all good. Anything else from anybody out there? You still? Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I've had this question asked to me a few times about my BM my you still have the bow the bow. I'm assuming that's BMW, right? Oh yeah, okay. Um, yeah, Cap will never leave. Cap will never leave unless I get a new cap, which I understand that the new GSAs won't be out till 25, from what I'm understanding. But neither here nor there. Cap will never go away. I love that bike. I've made so much investments. I've put that bike through living, you know what? You've seen it in my videos, and it has been there by my side. It is a trusted, you know, like that bike will never leave my stable. If I have to get rid of everything else, I will probably get rid of everything else but Cap. Unless something drastically happens or whatever, but Cap will never go anywhere. I love my 1250 GSA. Can't I think, you know, there's to me there's nothing better, but again, you know, I've tried different bikes, I've tried different things. I know you know, there's a lot of different things out there and people try different things, but and again, it's because what you fall in love with or what you're comfortable with as a rider. But I love my GSA, so that will never go away. Big space, big station, got it. Any trips to Germany planned? Yes, actually, Sean, I'm trying to do that. If you guys don't know, my son is in the Air Force. He's based in Germany. Um, Probably with everything that's going on this summer, it'll probably either trying to look at either sometime in August, but most likely will probably be in the late fall, early around the holidays, to get to Germany, which doesn't bode well for trying to ride any motorcycles. That's the reason why I'm also looking at maybe trying to go to August or maybe even September or something like that to get over there and maybe do some Oktoberfest and maybe try to rent a bike or whatever and do some touring in Germany. I would love to do that. So, any thoughts on that? Let's talk at Whale and Wayne, buddy. If I don't go before that, we'll have to talk, or even prior to that. Oh yeah, Oktoberfesting, absolutely. Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I've tried to. It's funny. I had this conversation with somebody the other day about my videos, and it's funny to go back and even see 6 months or a year or when I first started this thing. Like, it's taken a lot of hard work to get to even what I consider is still just again rank amateur doing this. Like, um, I would love to be one day. It'd be like Sterling. If you guys haven't seen Sterling Noreen, who does the BDRs, and if you guys don't know who that is, you guys go Motorcycle Travel Channel. His work is impeccable. I mean, I would love to be able to do that and some other things. But yeah, I try to get better. I try to do content that at least is something that you'll watch, and I try to keep it short and concise so it's not too long. But yeah, I try to get better. So thank you. Just continue to keep refining my skills and trying to learn. It's like I said, it's a one-man band here. So and I think I talked about this the last time. I get hung up and I try to go so fast. Like even I just went back and watched first couple of I think episodes in my Colombian Adventure thing and caught a couple of misspelled words because I inverted a couple of things or just was going too fast and didn't go back and double check my work, which I should, especially at this age of my life. But I'm trying to get stuff out and I catch little things here and there and but I try to get better at it. Yeah, being a one man band and these things take a while. So if you guys do videos, these 10-15 minute videos I've been doing for Colombia normally take me 4 to 7 hours to do because I'm going through so much footage to capture what content I feel is like something unique or cool or something that's relative to what we did or whatever. And it takes a while to scan through that video as well as just kind of piecing it together, timing and what makes sense. And so it's a lot. It's a lot. So if you've ever done this before, you guys kind of know what I'm going through. But I appreciate the comments. I remember. Yeah, well, I would love to do that. I actually did that last year. That's one of the things that I learned real quick last year was just on cutting the videos down and trying to keep them no more than 10 minutes, depending on what the thing is, and trying to do a couple. I've had a couple other people and haven't taken quote unquote. I did take 3 classes last year, and that was more about just editing and film. The last ones is about content and how to pop the content and stuff like that a little bit better. But yeah, you are right. I probably should skip the adventure classes and do a film photography. It's been kind of hard. I think ever since COVID, trying to find a class to go take or maybe have someone on site. Everything wants to be on a Zoom call, and I'm not really good with learning through the Zoom stuff and everything like that. I'm kind of more of I'd rather have someone, like let's walk through this together and me hands on and get dirty that way. But I do need to do that. So it is a great recommendation. Are you going to do I did part of the Pennsylvania BDRX last year. Because Kane, I did when I went off the cliff with Kane. We did probably 30% of that, and then also when I went and did the BDR, I rode probably another 20. I've probably done about half that BDRX. I definitely would like to go back and do that. There is a group of us that talked about possibly doing that, so reach out to me or ping me or whatever, and let me know when you guys might get up there. You might want to think about doing it, and if I can figure out the times and dates, that might be a thing to do, is go back up there and finish that, because it's a nice track. It's really nice up there and beautiful country, and I would love to go back up there and truly finish the whole thing. So yeah, that'd be a good one. Anything else from anybody? I did with the KTM. I will say that I did get rid of my Bonneville, my T120. I love that bike. The Bonneville is just such a classic bike, the T120 Black. But I just found that me doing more and more of the adventure stuff, I've got the Touareg 660. Now I've got the 890, R KTM, and then obviously you got Cap. I kept my R9T BMW, which I will never. That's another bike I'll never get rid of as well. So those are the 4 bikes. So I've got basically 3 adventure bikes. I just got done doing some filming today for what's the difference between in the first few things, just kind of between the 890 and the Touareg 660. So that was one thing. I did get rid of the Bonneville. I probably will regret getting rid of that one day, because it was a nice bike. Yeah, the Bonnie's a cool bike. Matt, my adventure tire of choice, if you have not seen that, I had a pallet dropped off here of Motaz tires. So I opt for the little bit more aggressive. Last year I ran the Motaz Tractionator Adventure in the rear, which is a 70-30, and run the RALs, or the RALs, whichever one you want to call it, in the front, the 80-20. This year I am switching. I'm going to run RALs both front and back, so 80-20 front and back. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because I bought a trailer, and I will be trailering to a lot of places this year. So outside the Northeast BDR, which I'll run those tires even on that, I do run the Motaz. Now, I do have Dunlop Trail Max Missions on my OEM rims, and those are great tires. If there was 2 tires, I would definitely say that if you want something that's long-lasting mileage, that you can do pretty much any adventure except for heavy sand, heavy mud, the Dunlop Trail Max Missions are, to me, just an outstanding tire. I've tried the Michelin, the Anarchy, the Wilds, and their adventures, and they're loud. I did not like them personally. I have never tried a TKC E80. I've had the Crew 3s. They get wore out like in 1,600 miles. So they're, to me, that's garbage when you're paying that kind, granted, paying for, tires and stuff. I have a set of Crew 4s that I actually put on the Touareg 660, and we'll see how long those last. But I had the Crew 3s. Those were bad. But yeah, so I'm doing the Motaz. I do Motaz RALs, and that's there. And actually, even on my KTM, as soon as I take it for the first service here at 600 miles, I'm putting brand new Motaz RALs on that as well. So that's the tire I go with, is the Motaz. But if you're, like I said, if you're doing dirt roads, you're doing some gravel roads, you're like both touring and a little bit of off-road adventure, and you're not really doing heavy adventure stuff, the Dunlop Trail Max Missions are fantastic tires. They at least in my opinion. I went through 3 sets of those in 21. Like I said, on Cap, my GSA, I've had her for 2 years now, and I got 37,000 plus miles on her. And I put 3 sets of tires on that thing with the Dunlop Trail Max Missions, and fantastic. I do. The Desert HTs loud is right on the Michelin's. Absolutely, Mike. Yeah, those tires are extremely loud. I couldn't take it, really. I actually put a set of Michelins on there, ran them for about 1,300 miles, and yanked them off because I just couldn't deal with the noise. The most desert HTs, I've heard the 3 people that I know that run them love them. Now, they are definitely made for heavy off-road, like heavy, like mud, sand, big paddles in them. They will grind, chew it up, and spit it out if you're doing mud and sand. So desert HTs, they're good and they last long. I think they were saying they get about 4,000 miles, maybe 4,500 miles on them before they really start. You really got to start changing them, because even on mine, I normally change them about 4 to 5,000 on mine. Now, granted, I probably could have got an extra 1,000 out of them. But they're saying about 4,000 miles on those desert HTs, and you're getting a great push out of them in the sand and the mud. So yeah, those are really good tires, especially if you're doing heavy off road. So yeah, so you might want, if you're into that, I would definitely check those out. Kyle Bradshaw, again, if you guys have not seen him, I'm sure you have. He's like the the adventure tire guru. I've got to know Kyle pretty well. Great guy. And check out his videos if you want on any of that. He's just fantastic and tells it how it is. But yeah, the Desert HT, I know 3 people that use them. They love them. So noisy. So they're noisy. Obviously, if you're on the highway, you'll get that tread going, and you're going to get that, kind of almost a Jeep sound out of it. So just know that. I don't know if they're as loud as the Michelins. I don't know, because I haven't ever run them. But man, those Michelins were so loud. Ugh, so annoying. It will be pretty cool. I don't know if anybody's tried it, but if you guys have seen it, Dunlop's coming out with their new. Oh, I forget the name of it. You guys probably know it faster than I would, but Dunlop's even coming out with another adventure tire that's a little bit more aggressive. So that might be a good tire as well. That's kind of their next evolution out of the Trail Max Mission. I think it's more of a 60-40, 70-30 type tire, if I'm not mistaken. Got about 10 minutes left. I don't want to, I figured an hour is probably good here. Just kind of give you guys an update of kind of what happened in Colombia, a little bit of my buffoonery and kind of what happened there, me making a bad decision almost to the point where wasn't going to be here. And then a little bit about the KTM, kind of what I'm planning on doing there. And also, if you get a new KTM 890 R or S, because they changed the fairing on it, crash guards do not work. I bought some from Tortec, had to send them back. Nobody's making crash guards or upper crash guards for those, because the fairing, because they shifted it and made it a little bit wider, give it a little bit more wind protection. Also for the gas tanks, for the gas to be lower, which is great because the balance on the bike is really nice. Crash guards don't go on the bikes. They probably won't have them for another 3 to 6 months, is what I was told by some of the manufacturers. So point out there. Favorite helmet. Ooh. Trail Max Raid. Yes, Trail Max Raid. Okay. So oh boy, favorite helmet. That's a good one. Love my Arai. Really do. I have to tell you, my Climb Krios Pro is pretty darn good. So, pros and cons. I took the Climb with me to Colombia because it's lightweight and it breathes a little bit better than the Arai. Now, what I missed is on my Arai, on your face shield, on the Climb, the lowest you can go is about this much. If you guys can see that, you get a lot of dirt, bugs, gravel, and everything can kick up in between there. You can't on the Arai, you can click it up just a little bit just to get a little bit more airflow to it. 2, the Climb, the visor on the Climb does not move. It stays still because it's locked in. On the Arai, if you're going into the sun, you can move it up and down on the Arai. But the Arai is heavier than the Climb. So I just ordered another Climb helmet. Won't be here till June. But I have 3, and again, I'm a little overkill, so don't kill me on this. But I have 3 of the XD4s, and they're all fantastic. They fit. Those fit me the best, and they're super comfortable. The Climb is comfortable, doesn't fit me as well, but the Climb is lighter, and I get more airflow in general out of it in hotter conditions. The Arai, though, I like the fact that you can just pop the lid just a little bit on it to get more airflow into it. So that helps a little bit. And then the adjustable visor. So there's a pros and cons to both of them. They're both great helmets. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one. And it's going to come down to a fit, right? I mean, I would definitely tell you, try those 2 helmets on and see which one you like. But the Climb's a little bit lighter than the Arai. But there's features and benefits. And if you watch, I do have a video on that. So if you want to go back, I don't know, maybe did it 3 or 4 months ago between the 2, you can kind of see me talk about it and I actually show it in the video. So good luck on that. So that's a great question though. Like in the Bell. Yeah, see, I never tried the Bell. So I've only tried for adventure helmets, I've only tried the Arai and the one. So Climb Carbon, I'll give you on that. It is noisier than the Arai. The Arai, like I said, is a little bit more, quiet and yeah, I definitely agree with that. Helmet communication, Matt. I did a video on this. I think back in the beginning of the year. I've tried both Cardo and Senna. I use Cardo, and it's because they're waterproof. Senna doesn't claim to be waterproof. Senna claims to be water resistant. I had a problem with Senna. It went out on me back in 21. Now, they were great. They replaced it. No beef whatsoever with Senna. I just find that the Cardo is waterproof. And doing all the adventure riding and all the stuff that we do out here, riding in rain and stuff like that, I didn't want to take that shot again with Senna, and I moved everything to Cardo. So that's what I choose for communication. Cardo, if you don't like sending back Senna to warranty, that's pretty funny. At S50 battery would not charge. Oh, okay, yeah. So you've had some issues with Senna as well. Mine went out. I rode all the way from I was Cincinnati, went up to the Wisconsin Dells, and all the way out to the Badlands, and out to Sturgis. And I rode in about 12 hours of rain, and my Senna started going bad, and it ended up dying on me. And they replaced it, but I ended up getting rid of it. Yeah. So while not waterproof, it won't hurt, but it will shut off when water gets. Yeah. That's the reason why I chose the Cardo, and because it's waterproof. I think the other thing too is, depending on the folks that you ride with, more often than not, some people have Senna. Sometimes they're quirky to connect the two, because it's amazing to me the 2 companies that are doing this inside the industry can't figure out how to do the right mesh combination so everybody can kind of talk to one another. They all have to be proprietary type stuff, and seems to be getting worse than better. But sometimes there's some connectivity issues there between the 2. But yeah, like I said, the real reason I chose Cardo is because of the waterproof. I have not seen the rugged radio helmet system, Matt, so I have no idea on that one. Senna, better overall sound, easier repairing. That might be a true statement on the easier repairing. We've had some issues trying to do the Cardo stuff. Sound, I don't know. I mean, I've got a couple of Cardo blacks. Again, I overkill for here. But they came with the JBL 45, speaker insets, and I don't, again. But yeah, Senna seemed to be. I did connect it a lot easier with stuff. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The blacks have the upgraded speakers. All right, game. Got about 4 minutes here left. So let's see. Senna speakers don't need the upgrade. Anybody else out there got anything? Covered a lot of topics. Hopefully it was helpful and you guys got something out of it. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Again, continue to keep making some content. You'll see some stuff coming around about my KTM and the 660. Just kind of my first impressions between the two bikes. Finally got about 150 miles on the KTM over the last few days, and we'll see. Have like further discussion on that, and then obviously I got the rest of the Colombia stuff, and then March Moto Madness happens, and we're off to the races. So it's gonna be pretty good. So let's see, a couple more questions in here. Tank bag. I do run a tank bag. Oh, how many times did you drop the bike in Colombia? Okay. Accident. Went through a rough water crossing and washed out. And when I went to do my drone video, I got in a bad spot to put the bike down, and I dropped it while I was getting off of it. So 3 times. No, 4. Slid down a bunch of rocks off of a pavement. One of the areas we were at, pretty steep. We were coming off of kind of like pavement, like stuff, and then we hit a bunch of loose rock and stuff like that. And we were going around a curve, and my rear end slid out from underneath me. So 4 times. 4 times in Colombia. Got that. Tank bag, no tank. I run a tank bag, Matt. I'm a big Moscow guy. I got the Pico, the Nomad Mini, and then I have the regular Moscow bags. I am going to a smaller and smaller tank bag. I just find it gets in the way too much. Thanks, man. See you soon. Looking forward to it. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Hopefully get better. Be ready for March Moto Madness, and we'll go from there. So if you guys need anything, feel free, ping me, do whatever. I've got the email, and obviously connect either on Facebook or through whatever, and go from there. So I really appreciate you guys stopping by. So take care, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.